Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? I am Ballhawk. I am here to go over week 4 in the IPA Moltres division, and let's just hop right into the matchup right away. So this week, we're going up against Clutch City Cacturns, coached by Astrius, and his team consists of what you see on the right. And again, I think I edited this graphic again. I think the overall black is makes it a lot easier to see everything in general, and so I think that's what we're gonna roll going forward. And the team that I think he is most likely going to bring, I think he's definitely going to bring Coco, Bolsef, Suicune, and Megalopony. And then after that, I can see him bringing any combination of Scizor, Shaman, Raichu, or Looky. Raichu would just be another hyper offensive threat that can come in and basically probably get guaranteed 1 or 2 kills after Coco sets up terrain. Shaman's there; it's a good check for Rillaboom or things like Cloyster or Mega Aggron or Sylveon. And then Scizor just kind of tanks a lot of my team aside from any fire attacks from Salazzle or Gudra or Sylveon. And Looky is really his only cleric wish healer, so I can definitely see him bringing Looky. But his team's pretty fair. The only things I can really see him passing wishes to would be Suicune, Shaman, or Scizor. But again, those three would be very, they have a pretty good matchup against me, so I can see him bringing Looky. I don't think he's going to bring Flygon, Liepard, or Uxie. Reason being is Flygon doesn't really do a whole lot in this game with Sylveon and Cloyster both being threatening from my end. They both kind of deal with Flygon very well, and same goes with Liepard when looking at Sylveon. And Uxie just, I haven't seen him bring Uxie. He may have brought it once or twice, but I just don't see him really using Uxie that much. His team is so hyper offensive that Uxie just kind of it doesn't really fit in with his playstyle the way he's played with this team, so I don't think he's going to bring it. But I definitely think that I need to bring Galurk. I'm thinking about going a more offensive rock polish Galurk this week. I think if I'm able to get a rock polish up, Galurk would be able to run through most of his team after some chip, especially like Tapu Koko, Blacephalon. I mean, once they're chipped a little bit, Blacephalon's potential Focus Sash, it's done for. Raichu would be gone, Scizor would be gone, do a Fire Punch, same with Shaman. Suicune would be the main check to Galurk, but Poltergeist is still going to hit it decently hard. Gudra, I like in this one, as just being a special wall for a lot of his special sweepers. Rillaboom is there for the terrain change, not along to just set up electric terrain and run through me with Raichu. And then Mew, I think, is pretty free to just kind of do whatever I see fit this week. I'll probably build Mew last after I look at the rest of my team. But I think Mew is just one of those things where it's like you gotta bring it every week if you got it. It's just so versatile. And then I plan on bringing Mega Aggron and Sylveon. Salazzle and Exploud are both worth a look here, though. Salazzle is a great matchup against things like Scizor and Shaman, and Tapu Koko. But Suicune being there, Suicune just walls it entirely. The only thing that you'd be able to do against Suicune is get a Toxic off before it gets a sub, but if it gets a sub, it does nothing against Suicune. And Raichu Alola is just gonna run through Salazzle, especially if terrain is up. I don't see it being, if it's a Focus Sash variant as well, I don't like Salazzle. Exploud is also worth a look just because of Blacephalon's Ghost Stab, and if he's choiced, it'd be an easy chance to get the Exploud in and do some major damage to whatever he decides to bring in. So, but I don't really like that one as well either, just because it's not, it's slow and it's got some nice HP, but he's got threats like Tapu Koko, Megalopony, and Scizor all being able to do a ton of damage to him. So I don't see him getting too much mileage out of this matchup. And I'm starting to realize that maybe Exploud wasn't the best tier 4 for my team. I may be looking to drop it and pick something else up in the coming weeks before the trade deadline, but we'll see. I don't think, I talked about Cloyster being a good matchup against Flygon and Shaman, but I don't necessarily think I need to bring Cloyster this week. Just because outside of those two, it's not going to do a whole lot, and Megalopony and Tapu Koko are just going to have their way to Cloyster. Rotom Fan, I could see being, situational, but And same thing with Hitmonlee, but I don't really think, I don't need any hazard removal this week. I'm anticipating, just because his team isn't the type that wants to set up hazards and just kind of pivot you around and get chipped that way throughout the match. So I don't see a reason to bring any of my 3 hazard removers aside from Mew, but I'm not going to use Mew that way either. So, but yeah, I don't see any of those 3 really doing a whole lot in this matchup. So let's hop into the team that I built. All right, so starting off the team for Asterisk, we got Goodra holding an Assault Vest with the Gooey ability. The reason I'm going Gooey over Sap Sipper is just because I kind of want to threaten Goodra as an immunity to Shaman. But if he wants to attack me with something like physical, Tapu Koko, for instance, Sledge Wave is going to be able to pretty much deal with it after that. Once it's got that speed drop. And then I've got 248 HP, 184 special attack, and 76 attack. 76 attack is there just so that Thunder Punch is going to break Suicune's substitute and be able to chip it down. HP is just there for bulk, and 180, and then just put the rest into special attack. And that is Goodra, Densissima. Next up, we've got Joe holding a Choice Band, and so spoiler. I guess not spoiler. Just heads up. I am doing this post battle, so you may be looking at some of these mods and be like, well, why did you run this? Why don't you run that? Why don't you just correct it now? Well, this is the team that I battled with, and I made the mistake of, you can go back and look at Goodra for a second, running a Gooey ability with Quiet Nature. I did that for the, I guess this one makes a little more sense than Joe. This should have been Grassy Surge. That would have made a major difference in the battle. Unfortunately, I kind of speed built this a little bit too fast, and I overlooked that. And so our Choice Band Rillaboom with Grassy Glide actually has Overgrown. So that's a bit unfortunate, but that's just that's how it is this week. So it's got Overgrow. Just put max HP, max attack, put the rest in defense, and we gave him Grassy Glide, Knockoff, U-Turn, and Drain Punch. My intention was just to be able to force Choice Banded Grassy Glides, and threaten things like Knockoff if he still has Tapu Koko, or U-Turn out, and then Drain Punch there just for longevity. I was really tilted about the Overgrow oversight. But anywho, next up we got Sentry holding a Casa Berry with the Iron Fist ability. The Casa Berry is there just to allow us to live a Shadow Ball from Blacephalon and get up our Rock Polish, so that way the following turn we can go for a Poltergeist or High Horsepower, knock it out if it's not stashed. But we've got Drain Punch, Poltergeist, High Horsepower, and Rock Polish for the moves, running 252 attack with an Adamant Nature for max power, and then 228 speed EVs, 20 special defense, and 8 defense. And I forget what the speed EVs are for, but I'm sure it's most likely for something like non-speed invested Shaman, or which, if that's a thing, I don't know, or Scizor, or Suicune or something. Just be able to outspeed one of those two. I bet you that's what the speed EVs are for. And then, yeah, my intention with Galaric here was just to be able to, I wanted to use it as either a hole puncher or a cleaner, just depending on how the battle went. So that is Galaric. It just had a great match of ground and ghost stab, doing so well against him this week. Next up, we've got Peach. Peach is holding in Leftovers with the Pixelate ability, using moves Hyper Voice, Mystical Fire, Wish, and Protect. Hindsight, maybe Shadow Ball would have been a little better than Mystical Fire, just to be able to deal with Blacephalon a little bit better or threaten it a little more. But Mystical Fire was also good to lower their special attacks, and Hyper Voice is doing enough, I guess. But we gave it max HP and max defense with a Bold Nature to make sure that we were able to live things like a little better from Lopunny or Physical Koko or Scizor, Scizor especially, and then be able to knock it out with Mystical Fire in return. And that was the Sylveon. Next up, we've got InGen, our Mega Aggron. Aggronite with sturdy ability, nothing new there. We decided to go with the Iron Defense, Rust, Sleep Talk, Heavy Slam. And I'm not sure why I decided to go with Heavy Slam over Body Press. It was probably just because of the Cephalon, but I think this Aggron set was this Aggron was a mistake. Not my best build, if I'm being completely honest here. The moves just they're a little bit whack, but ran the same, or a max HP, max special defense, or no, 248 HP, max special defense with Careful Nature for special bulk, and then put the last 8 into attack for a little extra from the physical attacks, and then yeah, that's Aggron. Hindsight, I really want to be able to dedicate more time to these team buildings, just because I think in general I overthink these a little bit, but up to this point in the season, the first 2 weeks I did really well in my team building, I thought, but these last few games have been very lacking, and I don't feel very good about that. So I'm getting to a point now where I think I got a little more time where I can start spending, dedicating a little more time to these kinds of things. So just keeping it a little more simple, or maybe not simple, but just like dedicating more thought and time into these teams is what I'm looking forward to doing, because I think I've definitely shot myself in the foot the last few weeks, and this week was no exception. But lastly, for this week, we've got Mewgirl holding Leftovers with a synchronized ability. We're going to go with the Dragon Dance variant. Just, one more sweeper at the end. Actually, I think we're going to use Sentry as a hole puncher and then try to clean the game later on with Mew. We're going to have Dragon Dance, Play Rough, Flare Blitz, and High Horsepower. The thought process with that is that Flare Blitz is going to KO Scizor, Shaman, and then High Horsepower and Play Rough are going to be able to deal with everything else pretty much. We're going with max attack and speed with the Jolly Nature and putting the last 4 into HP, and that is the team. And here we have the battle against Catastrius, and let's just get this rolling. So he brought basically everything I thought he would, except for Liepard. Liepard was a bit of a surprise. I decided to lead Galurk to see if I can get some good damage on him right away, and so we went with the Rock Polish, and then decided to go for High Horsepower. I thought High Horsepower was a safe move just in case you wanted to switch out to something like Liepard or Lopunny. I didn't want to give him a free switch into something like that. So then he brings in Shaman. We go back out to our Rillaboom, and this is where we realize we don't have Grassy Surge. So we just get on out of there, bring in our Goodra, force him to switch out, thinking that we are Sap Sipper, and now we're just gonna start dealing with this Suicune. And yeah, that his Ice Beam does nothing, which is exactly what we wanted. The Assault Fist and Bulk really coming in handy here, and the Thunder Punch doing exactly 25%, which is perfect to break the sub. So he's not able to sub and set up, and we're just going to go for a Draco Meteor to get a little extra chip here, and then keep threatening him with Thunder Punches as he shows his Rust. So that kind of gives us a little bit of an opportunity to switch out and set up with something else possibly. So he switches out into Tapu Koko actually, which I thought was kind of surprising, and so I wanted to switch to Mewgirl and get a Dragon Dance up. So it was a good switch on his part, but we decided to get our Dragon Dance up anyway, hoping that we'll be able to do some damage to Suicune. We go for another one, getting a little greedy, but again, he's been asleep for quite a few turns. I didn't see any issue with it. And so now I believe we're going to start trying to do some damage. Unfortunately, we missed the Play Rough. That was a big miss. Getting that extra chip on this weekend would have been huge. As we're at least able to get some passive recovery with our Leftovers though. Yeah, that Play Rough would have been huge. We would have been able to get him low enough where whatever he roared in would have been able to knock it out outright for the most part. So that was unfortunate. And his Suicune is just kind of sitting around here now. Being able to get his recovery with Leftovers is really annoying. But we switch out to Goodra and he just roars us out again, which is, this one worked out very nicely actually. Getting Rillaboom in and getting that Wish off. as he switches out to Tapu Koko, and we decide to knock off his Kabia Berry, which is an interesting bring, obviously looking to counter Goodra or Salazzle. And so we switch out to Peach to soak up his Play Rough, and he opts to switch out. Unfortunate crit there. RNG just was not in our favor with the crit here, and then we did get the crit on Suicune. However, it was kind of a moot point. It didn't really mean anything. But missing the Play Rough on Suicune earlier and now getting the crit onto Peach, very unfortunate. As he goes for a Gunk Shot and shows that, so I think that's perfect opportunity now to switch out to Aggron, and he reveals he's got Encore as well. So Liepard, it was that was a cool Liepard set. Gunk Shot, Encore. I like that a lot, actually. But we decided to switch out to Densissima again, or Goodra, as he brings in Suicune. Because I do not want to allow him to, go for a substitute and start setting up. I anticipated him switching out there into Tapu Koko or Shaman, and that's why the Sludge Wave came out there. But at this point now, his Suicune just, he gets another critical hit on us, but his Suicune is basically just sitting there and, taking us out slowly but surely. As one more Ice Beam is going to do it for Goodra. But I wanted to kind of reserve it a little bit, and so he goes for the rest right away as we switch out. Switches out to Blacephalon to go for a Wish, hoping that maybe we can eventually get up, heal up our Galurk. That's the intention. This is where a Shadow Ball would have been very nice instead of Mystical Fire, I think. He switches out to Lopunny, which was very brave of him, I guess, with how threatening we were with the Hyper Voice. But he just goes for a U-turn to get a little bit of chip. Hoping that he was going to go for a Volt Switch here, we switched out into Galurk. Unfortunately, he reads and gets the Play Rough. Had we gotten that Wish off on Galurk, and had he gone for a Volt Switch, that would have been huge, and it would have kind of allowed us to not necessarily lose the match outright. Galurk was kind of huge for us if we were able to get off another Rock Polish eventually, but unfortunately that's not how it went. And I think at this point I was just kind of tilting a little bit. Terrain Pulse was a cool bring, actually. Very smart, I think, honestly. A little bit stronger than Thunderbolt. A little more accurate. You don't get the Para chance, but, you don't really need it, I guess. And here we're just kind of choosing to sit in front of this Tapu Koko with Peach, get the knockout. At least it's not a 6-0 at this point. That's pretty much how I felt. I felt like this match went downhill very fast. But basically just sitting with Sylveon at this point as he goes for a Mind Blown, which is very nice for us. We get a little more HP back with Protect. I went for a double Protecting, and that's probably my only win kind of at this point, is because Blacephalon is very threatening. However, he read that nicely, and I should have gone for Hyper Voice or a Wish or, another Mystical Fire. But at this point, Blacephalon just sweeps. And this is where Grassy Glide would have come in handy a lot. but yeah, at this point, there's nothing with the boosts and being able to outspeed everything on my team. There's nothing that I could do against his Blacephalon at this point. He switches out thinking that maybe I was Sucker Punched Mew, which opened the door a little bit, but ultimately he's got Encore, and that seals the deal. And I'm sure he's got Foul Play as well, but yeah, not a good week. This was not a good week at all. Kind of outsmarted ourselves a little bit with the Goodra, I think. And had Rillaboom been Grassy Surge, I think this battle would have been much different. being able to threaten him a little more with a boosted priority with a choice band, Rillaboom would have put in a lot of work. And then I would have opened the door a little more for Galurk as well. The misplay trying to wish pass to Galurk, that was a good read on his part, and I guess it was a little bit obvious for me. That's something I definitely could have played a little bit better, but yeah, Blacephalon just kind of showing just how threatening it is, actually, and it's kind of overlooked a lot of times, but man, once it gets a kill, with its speed, it just starts rolling, and so, unfortunate, we now dropped to 2 and 3 on the season, and we're kind of entering a do or die phase for the season. With this season being only 7 weeks long before playoffs hit, the room for error is considerably less. So we really need to start kind of turning things around a little bit, and start playing and building a little bit better. So, but very well played to Asterisk. He brought a good team, and yeah, Blacephalon. Yeah, he didn't even get to use Mega Lopunny hardly ever in this game, which is, it's kind of scary to think about, but yeah, I don't really have too much to say. I guess the crits, we got a lot of bad luck, missing a player off, all the crits against us, a little bit unfortunate, but that's just, that's how it goes sometimes, and he played pretty well. He deserved that one, so I can't really be mad, but yeah. That'll be it for this week, and thanks for tuning in, guys. All right, see you next week. Peace.